Hello, writers, and welcome to Writing for Screens. Today's live stream episode is about Substack. My name is Glenn Gers. I am the Chief Operating Everything here at Writing for Screens, a channel in which I have tried to put the skills, tools, and insights that I had to figure out for myself in a 25-year career writing for TV and movies. I tried to put those into some video lessons. There's a screenshot here of the channel, and if you look down at the bottom, you'll see playlists. These playlists have about 50. The first three have about 50 10-minute lessons that I created on various topics about writing and screenwriting, including genre, flashbacks, character, dialogues, thinking and scenes, all these things that you might want to know in the most practical way that I could figure out, things for you to try, things for you to think about, ways for you to look at things, for you to try for yourself and decide what works for you and what doesn't, because every writer must make their own path. Decide their own kind of work, figure out their own situation, decide their own strengths and weaknesses. You got to figure that out for yourself. That is what being an artist is. So I do not have a formula. There are no rules. There is no right or wrong way to do this stuff. All I can do is try and trade some of the stuff that I figured out that helped me, some of the things that I've heard about helped other people, in case they'll be good for you. So that's what this channel was all about. Having put up those 50 lessons, I then did live streams. Now I come on every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time Zone to talk about a different topic every week. This week, we're going to be talking about Substack because I am starting a Substack. I have started it, actually. I'm telling you about it. Hoping that you'll join up and that we can discuss it here. I'll try and explain what it is. What Substack is, for I think many people don't know yet, and just talk about what I've been doing with it and what I think maybe is exciting about it. So here's the deal. First, a couple of hellos. Hello, Fung. Hello, Pelicans. Hello, Thomas Lewis and Ming. Hey, hey, hey. Good to see all of you. So let's get right to it. I'd like to plunge in here. All right. So here's the deal. I have started a Substack for Writing for Screens, and I'm going to explain what is a Substack. But if you are looking to see it, you can subscribe or not. There is a link in the description right now, but you can also just search for Substack Writing for Screens. You'll find a link there. It'll take you directly to it. I'll talk more about that in a few minutes, but let's just talk about what the heck is Substack. Because it's growing. It's a buzzy little thing. It's a platform. It is just like anything else on the internet. It's a platform that hosts what started out, they called it newsletters, which meant you would write a little essay and then it would you would post it and then it would send an email to those who had subscribed saying, hey, new post. But they've also started to build out from there. They've got video, they've got podcasts, they've got essentially social media. And in fact, just an hour or two ago, the co-founder of Substack posted a post in which he declared, let's face it, Substack is social media. It is essentially a place where people hopefully will go to get their news, to get their podcasts, to get their community. I tend to think of it more like a mall. And the social media question about it, what they're saying is they want to try and find a new type of social media, a new way to use digital technology, which I think is kind of cool. But like I said, I think of it more like a mall or like a magazine stand in the sense that you go there and I've just noticed I've got kind of overlit myself here. I got these big shadows. Okay, sorry about that. A mall. Like you go into Substack and there's shops. Boom, 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 boom. There's Glenn's shop. There's someone else's shop. And each shop has the stuff that I want to put out to you. you can go in or you're not. It's not like a feed in which you have to scroll through a whole lot of stuff that you didn't choose. You can simply target and say, I want to go to Glenn's Substack. I want to go to They have a feed, but you don't have to use it. And so like, or like a magazine stand. So, do you remember a thing called magazines? So there used to be magazines, and there would be these stands out on the sidewalk or stores in which there would be racks and racks and racks, all the magazines laid out so you could see all the covers and say, oh, I want to see what's in this week's New Yorker and this week's Esquire and, whatever it is, Good Housekeeping. That's kind of how I am viewing Substack. It's that it's a place for you to go, and they might put some things up front or some things on the side. But if you like the Glenn show, the Glenn magazine, you can subscribe to make sure that whenever I have something to tell you, you'll find out about it. You can choose to see it or not. It's not going to be forced upon you. One of the things I wanted to ask, I have a friend in Spain who said he was having trouble accessing Substack, that for some reason it was not available to him through his internet provider. So please let me know in the comments or in the chat if you try it, and this is over time. If you try to reach Substack and you have a problem, please let me know, because I don't know. So here's the deal. Within your shop in the mall or your magazine on the stand, they have newsletters. But also a lot of people are posting art, posting their artwork or their photography, comics, live streams, videos, podcasts. There are also what they call notes, which is sort of a social media feed in which there are discussions, there are chats and discussions, so that people, if you are a subscriber to a certain newsletter, you're allowed to join the discussion. Some people have it open. Anyone can join the discussion. I'm probably going to keep it subscribers only. I don't think that that's a lot to ask, because the subscription is free. It does not cost you anything. All you have to do is give your email. I don't do anything with the email except use it to let you know that I'm doing stuff. But the point about that is that if you take the time to subscribe, you can be in the community. And I kind of like that, because I like the comments. I like the things that we've got here on YouTube. But it is sort of one way. It is like, you comment to me, I answer your comment, but you guys can't talk to each other. And I've had people say that they want to. And just even in general here in the chat, I'll find people who will be answering each other's questions and discussing things. And I think that that's pretty damn cool. So who's on Substack? What is it? Right now, there's all sorts. Like I am subscribing to one which is called Your Local Epidemiologist, which is about public health. It's a science expert. It started during COVID. But I kind of like to keep an eye on what public health people are saying. But also, there's famous writers, there's non-famous writers, there's artists who are using it essentially as a gallery. There are a lot of professional journalists and media figures who have started their own Substack because they want to be free of their organization. And also, here's the other thing about Substack, which a lot of people are all focused on. I am less, which is it can be monetized. In other words, I am giving my subscriptions free. Anyone can subscribe. All you have to do is give your email to Substack, not to me. And the purpose of that is so that I can let you know when I got a new book out, when I got a new video out, when I got something going on, when I have something to talk about. If I have a new thought about being creative, you'll get a little email. You can just delete it if you don't like it. But many people are using the subscriptions as a way to monetize. In other words, they'll say, you can get a free subscription where you get one post a week. But we got lots of other posts and you have to pay to see those, which I do understand. I don't want to do it because for me, the idea is to build my audience and to be creative and to have some fun. And I honestly don't know that it is sustainable to create every single different Substack that you have, you must subscribe to and pay for. I suspect that people will, just like with streaming services, they'll begin to say, I don't want to have 20 different Substacks that I subscribe to and pay for. It's just, first of all, it's too much to read. And second of all, it's too much to pay. So therefore, I think that the real value of Substack, the real use of it, is the it's like a mall where you can go in and browse and go into the shop. For me, I want my shop to have as many people come in as possible, so I'm making it free. I'm personally a little frustrated sometimes because I would like to sign up to dozens and dozens of Substacks. You don't have to read them, but they'll say, hey, this week I'm talking about the fall of the Roman Empire. And I don't want to click on that and say, if you want to read the rest of this, you have to pay us. But I do understand people are trying to make a living. I am an old retired union writer. I am lucky enough to have a pension and I am surviving so far on it. And looking forward to my Social Security. But for those of you who are trying to monetize, trying to build a creative space that can pay for itself, this should, in theory, work. It'll be a delicate balance on whether people can charge, what do you charge, like $5 a month? Or as somebody just said, somebody was talking about somebody charging $99 a month. That's way too much. that is freaking crazy. But people be doing what they're doing. What I will do though is I'm going to, because a lot of people have said like, gee, you put all this stuff out on YouTube and stuff for free. Do you have a Patreon or something? No. But what I will do is I will make subscriptions. You have the option of paying. You can say like, I have $5 this month. Here, have it. Which would be cool because this does, things do cost something. It costs something to buy the equipment with which I do this. And it would be nice, I have to pay a certain amount for my streaming software and my Canva and stuff. And so far that's doable. But I got to say, I want it to be a pay what you will, pay what you want. When I was growing up, the Metropolitan Museum of Art had a pay what you like option. And I was a high school student, and usually I paid nothing, or I paid a quarter. But the idea of the museum being there and whatever you could afford, you paid, to me, that's beautiful. That is the way, if you can do it, that seems the way to do it. That's what I'm going to do. Let me do some quick checks of these comments, and then I'll get back to more about my project. Okay, hi, Michael. Every project has its own set of problems. This is a fact, Michael. The thing to remember is that that's part of having a project. That's part of doing something. Is figuring out and overcoming the problems that it has. So, cool. Fair. Patrick says, my process of outlining is to work backwards. I have ADD and autism, so I start by writing 100 long lines, picking out the one I love, and write out and imagine the 3 acts backwards. That's fascinating, but it does make sense. Just to talk briefly about Patrick's process, one of the most important things is Patrick figured out his process. In other words, your process is going to fit your life and your brain and your soul and your type of art. So therefore, Patrick finding his way that works best for the way he thinks, that's great. I have to say that when I start something, my mind starts planning the story. I cannot help that. So I try and find a process that gives me a place to do that, but I also work piecemeal, bits and pieces, so I needed an outline structure. Some people don't want to do that. In fact, Michael Chabon, who has a Substack and was talking about the process, his writing process, and he was talking about how he simply writes sentence to sentence. My mind wouldn't do it. It would not stay still. So Germany Football Rock says, like an article version of TikTok. No, not at all. That's the whole point. For me, the point of Substack is that it is more like a shop where you can look and say, oh, these are today's items. These are today's essays and photographs and film clips and podcasts. And I can click on the ones I want. it is not feeding you anything. There is, I believe, a Substack home page where it will, anything that you have subscribed to, it will show you that feed, and it also suggests things. So in that sense, it's a feed if you want to go there, but you don't have to go there. You can just wait for an email and then click on the article, or you can just go to the homepage of the shop that you want to see, the publication, as they call it. Fung says, Sight and Sound Cinema magazine just sent to my door every month. No need to have a stand. That's good. Yes, obviously, if you have a subscription to something, it comes to your door. That's what I'm saying. The digital version of that is they send you an email saying, hey, a new article just dropped today. Click on it if you like. Sanchez says he's in Spain and he can access Substack. Great. No shade on my friend in Spain. He may just, it could be his particular internet setup, or it could be him. We're none of us young. Alex says the Substack is running smoothly here in neighboring Portugal. Hey, hi, Alex. Thank you so much. Oliver Stone just started his Substack. Yes, absolutely. You are going to find, and this is what I think is kind of cool. And I suspect it will become unequal as things do. But you have famous people, Oliver Stone and whatnot. George Saunders has a great one on writing. And they are there, but then you can join. You need no credentials. You need to have no talent. You can be bad and have a Substack. Nobody's going to throw you out. You won't get a lot of attention probably, but that may not matter. That's my point. What I like about this is the opportunity, the fact that it is an opportunity, and if you choose to continually create and publish and refine and explore, your Substack is probably going to be somewhat interesting. If you're just steering towards what you think will get hits and likes, I'm certainly not going to click on you. Anyway, so the thing that I like about this is that you have the option of saying, these are the feeds, these are the subscriptions, the publications that I want to know about. I may go exploring on a topic. You can search, you can say, I want to look at Substacks about, pottery, and then you will find some. But you can also, get the feed from the ones, and sometimes you have an interest and then that interest fades, but you keep the Substack there because what the hell, you just delete the email. Not a big deal. As long as you don't have to pay for those subscriptions. That's what I do. I have a lot of things that I have the free version of. And, now and then I'll see a post which is, hey, this is a cool article and you get to read the first quarter of it and then you have to pay if you want to read more. I usually don't, I have to say. I will continue, by the way. I'm going to continue doing these live streams here. I'm continue to YouTube. I'm going to be doing short form videos here, but I will also have them on the Substack as I figure out how to do that. Let me just do some other comments. Hey, Nishaj. Hey, Henry Kane says, a screenwriting teacher charged $99 a month. That's just crazy talk. That's just dopey. Okay, subscriptions are a drag. I have Apple Plus, Netflix, Paramount, Amazon, and Mubi. Yeah, me too, pal. And the problem is that there's still things I want that I have to rent separately. But to me, so far, that has been worth it. Maybe it won't be in the future. It may be that I decide to drop the subscriptions and only rent things item by item. Okay, so let's get something. Ming, can it work for post and sell scripts? Well, it depends on what you mean by selling the script. I don't believe you can do merchandise through the Substack app, but what you can do, what I will be doing is I will be saying, hey, I'm going to post about my book, and then I'm going to say, if you want to buy the book, link to Amazon and buy it there. I believe you can do that. But so the question is, if you're trying to sell a printed or digital book or script, yes, you probably could do it not on there. What I will be doing, since I've got a lot of my scripts, which I put on my website, where you just downloading the PDF, you can do that. So I will be posting those on Substack also. And the idea there will be, like if I do a behind the script episode and I'm talking about a script and I want you to be able to read it, I will put the link there in Substack and you just click it and you get yourself a PDF and that's it. Randy Tom charges $20 per month, but Sound Techniques has nothing to do with screenwriting. We are kind of in the wild west of Substack. We're in the big boost. Everyone's excited about it. Everyone's jumping into it, and I expect things to shake out. I'm going to talk about this. I'm a little concerned. What Cory Doctorow has called enshittification. The idea that all of these websites, all of these platforms start out offering you a lot of good stuff, and then slowly but surely, in order to increase their profits and their control, they will make it harder to do the cool thing that they originally did and just become like everybody else, feeding you their advertisement. I hope that does not happen on Substack. It's possible, I can't control it, but I'm betting for the moment, it seems like they are trying not to be that. Roberta is saying, I have finished my screenplay, but it's 287 pages long enough to make a trilogy. Okay, well, let's talk about that. Because the answer is certainly you are unlikely to sell it to a producer to make at that size. That is absolutely true. If it is possible to break it into separate pieces, you probably should in terms of commercial work. If you're just publishing it, if you just want people to read it, great. If you want it to get produced, first of all, is there a way to make it a serial, a series, a show, a limited series, maybe like 6 episodes, 40 minutes each or something? You'll have to figure out the structure and how that works for you as far as your particular story. But the answer is certainly, 90 to 110 pages is the average working screenplay at the moment. It can go to 120, but it probably shouldn't. And certainly 287 that's too long. It's too long to get produced as a standing film unless you are finding someone who says, hey, auteur, let's do a 5-hour movie. But that's a lot of pages, because remember, while they say a minute a page, in truth, things expand, and any script is going to create a first cut that is way longer than it seems. How to create a portfolio that could work in Substacks? Well, let's talk about that, because I am going to do that. Oh, hey, She Breathes in Gold. I'm so glad that you are here. Let's talk a little bit about my Substack, because here's the deal. The idea, why am I doing this? I am trying to reconceive my online work and especially my online home. Currently, my online home is basically YouTube, because I have been doing basically videos. But I am steering myself more away from teaching and towards teaching by showing my creative work. In other words, doing more of the thing where I am talking about how I am writing a novel, which is really what I'm going to be focusing on for the rest of my future work. Novels, there's not a real place for novels in YouTube. If I'm going to write something as I go, the Substack will allow me to give you pieces of it. A lot of people are doing serialized fiction, like they'll do a novel and they'll put it out in chapters, each one as a post, the way that 19th century writers used to do. I'm not probably going to do that, but what I may do is essentially the novel version of my screenwriting step-by-step project. In other words, I will simply I'll turn on my camera and my screen sharing while I work on the novel I'm going to do after the one I'm currently working on that I've been reporting on. So that in order to do that, I feel like I want to get away from just doing video. I like writing. And I want to write little short bits that I can just post and say, here, this is a thing I figured out. I don't want to do a whole video. It's a lot of work to do those videos. So I'll do little tiny, vertical videos with just a little pop of an idea. But if I have something to say, I want to keep it short. I want to do it in writing. And I'm also trying to be more creative about other forms. So let's show you what it looks like. Here is my Substack at the moment. And the layout is that there's always a central new post, and then over to the left there's a bunch of recent posts. Over to the right are what are called most popular. I only have a handful. What I did was I started the Substack, and in fact, you will see I've got this here, learning to Substack. One of my first Substack, what I tried to do, Substack post, I just said, hey, I'm just going to do this. And so I just posted a bunch of things, and I thought, you know what? I'm just going to post it. I'm just going to say I'm doing this because I'd never experienced posting. And then I'm starting to illustrate my own posts. Here's one that I just did about the release of the iPhone and how I think it reveals a concept for an expectation of revolution, a constant newness, which I think is great. But I did this little drawing. And I'm hoping to get some photography going there, and maybe even some short little artsy videos. I don't know. Whatever I feel like doing, I feel like this is a cool way to do it. And there's also a Writing for Screens recommends. Currently, I've just recommended two other I recommended a piece in the New York Times and another Substack. But I'll be talking about some old movies, maybe some new movies, maybe some books, maybe some music. Who knows? The point is, what I've done is I've created a series of categories. The categories are the creative process, in which I'm going to be talking about. That's what I do here. Like I'll say, like, this is what I'm working on right now. This is what I want to talk about. But then I'm also going to do writing tips. And then I have thoughts, my cultural comment, the more open-minded sort of, not so much how-to as just, hey, this is what I'm thinking. And then the recommends. And then my work. In other words, when I have a book out, when I have a new photograph I've taken, I can put it there. So that's what I am going to be doing with Substack. The idea for it for me is that what I wanted, like I said, a shop. Like I imagine a little, bookstore, cafe, theater space. I know somebody in New York, and an actor I know, she has opened a coffee shop, and they have open mic nights, and they put up artwork, and obviously it's a place where you get coffee, but it's also a community place, and it's also a place where people can put their work. And that's what I wanted. Like if I had a physical storefront, that's what it would be. But I think even better is to have it be this digital one, because then those of you in Spain and Portugal and England and India, you can all come to my shop and we can hang out. And I'm really, really looking forward to steering towards that being my creative home. And the thing I'm worried about, of course, is what if Substack changes? Like, if you started out on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook, because it was a place to release your creativity, like YouTube, there's always the possibility that you'll get swept away by the algorithm, that the vibe will change on the platform. Or even just like with Instagram, it started out as photographs, now it's all videos. Is that possible? Can it happen that Substack, which I'm investing myself in now, investing my time in, could go sideways, could go haywire? Yes, absolutely. But you got to try. I think the idea is I want to have a creative home base for myself, but also in theory, like I love doing these live streams. I love the comments. I love the questions. I love the discussions. Very, very few people can be on these live streams. There's a couple of hundred who check it out over time, but only 30 or so who can be here live. And I am thrilled that you are. But imagine if whenever you can go to my Substack, check out the latest chats and discussions and comments and get into that. If you have something to say, if you have something to ask, you can. So that's another part of it is I do like the idea of a creative platform and a creative community. The thing I would suggest about for the rest of you is I've been talking a lot about using the forms as they appear. We've got creative forms that are happening, and I think that the goal here is try to think of it as like, what could I do with this free space? If I'm willing to put in my creativity, I will create my own shop, my own magazine, my own theater, my own whatever you want to call it. It's there. This is miraculous. This is the best thing about the truly what I suspect is the digital technology future that we have is probably going to kill us all. It is probably going to be the ruin of civilization and humanity is going to fall into collapse. But I cannot do that much about that. So why would I not make my shop while it's here? Why would I not do the best I can to be the best I can and to have the most fun I can while this thing is here? What if Substack starts charging me? I don't know. I'll figure it out as I go along. But what I would suggest for all of you is just try and think of it in terms of doing a place to do the thing I've been saying to do, which is just be as creative within your means, within your reality as you can. This is a place to do it. Or YouTube, or whatever. I'm not proselytizing for Substack. I have no idea how this is going to work. I'm saying that the issue is all of these things are there for us, and people are focusing on whether or not they can get the big audience and whether or not they can get money from it. But I'm saying, what if you removed those two concerns? What if you just said, I'm going to do this in such a way that I can afford, that I'm going to, like, for me, I'm going to like draw on my iPad because I have an iPad. You could draw on a piece of paper and then scan it and put it up there. You can take pictures, you can make videos, you can do whatever you can do your way, or write your serial novel, or put your 287 page script up there. Whatever it is, as long as you're not trying to make your rent with it, as long as you're not worried that you're not going to have as many people on it as Oliver Stone, you're golden. It's great. It's such a cool possibility. So that's what's on my mind about it. Let's see what people are saying. Michael says, I used to hang out at City Lights Bookstore in San Francisco, the famous Beat Generation poetry hangout. It covered theater, cinema, and photography. You could browse for over an hour and not buy anything. Well, I always made a purchase. Yes, that is, if I could own a bookstore and have someone else do all the work, so that I could just have the community of the bookstore, and that's what I'm going to do, because I don't want to have to buy and sell books. My own, yes. But anyway, She Breathes in Gold, not a Substack here, but did I immediately sign up to yours? Yes. Yay. Thanks. I hope we all have some fun. Please do, when I start opening up chats and comments and things, please do comment, and certainly comment on the things that you got. If you got anything to say, let me know. Okay. But like I said, I've only just started this. I only have like a half dozen posts, but I'm going to try and get a flow going to keep, I don't want it to be all the time. There's too much coming at all of us. So I'm not going to post a lot, but I hope it will build, it will accumulate, and will become exciting and beautiful. Okay, Celia Jack says, how to write a logline for my script when there are 3 different semi-connected stories, but all within the same family. Well, that's how you do it. You write a logline that says, this is about 3 different stories within the same family that are about jealousy and gold and raccoons, whatever it is that are the hooky, themey, genre-y pieces. try and do those, put those in. But the main thing you want to do is log line that it is three connected stories. That's how I would do it. Yay! Nishaj says, oh, he said right on to She Reads Gold, but got gold wrong, which is all cool. Thank you. All right. Fung says, my problem is I write a lot faster on hand than typing. I can write 15 pages on it by hand, but in Final Draft, only 3 to 4 pages. Then write by hand. And then later, when you're in the grind time of your day, you can type it. But whatever works, do it. Whatever it is that is most comfortable and creative, do that. And then figure out how to adjust that. I have lots of friends who write by hand. They write their first draft by hand, and then later, when it's all done, they type it, which is a second pass, really. What happened to your website? I am slowly deconstructing it. I am going to it will be there, but the point of my website is going to be to steer you to YouTube and Substack. Originally, I thought, I need the website to have you so that you can download things, because like if you want to watch my step-by-step project and you want to, I put copies of my outline and my script as I worked on them. So there's dozens of drafts available in PDF. They were on my website. You could go there. I'm going to steer that to also have them on the Substack so that you can do everything that I can think of that you can do. I hope you will do on YouTube and Substack. That is the point. The reason that I'm steering away from websites is for decades since the internet began, the theory, the philosophy was you're trying to get people to go to your website. Your website is your home. The thing is, that was cool when there were 50 websites around. Now there's billions. No one is going to go to yours. The odds of people getting into it and giving you their email and being in content or checking it regularly are very, very slim. But they go on social media. They go on Substack, ideally. And the point is that this way, my home is in the mall that they're already going to. Or my home is a place where I can post something there and you'll get an email, which is very different from YouTube, where yes, some people will have a little bell with an alert that I'm on live or something, but most people don't. I have over 20,000 subscribers. I guarantee you most of them have stopped looking at my channel. And YouTube has stopped putting my channel into the suggested feed. And I'm not complaining about this. I have been doing only live streams for like a year now. So just hour-long once a week. They're not going to be pushing hour-long live streams. They are now pushing shorts. So I haven't been making shorts. So they're like, look, you get a couple hundred people looking at your live streams, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? We want action. We want more. So now I recently went on to see what would happen if I searched as a stranger for screenwriting, because I was looking at screenwriting books to see what other podcasts and things were out there. And mine doesn't show up. Like if you search screenwriting help in YouTube, it will not show you that I exist. It will not show you any of my work. It will show you my Film Courage interviews, but it will not show you my channel, because I'm just not doing what the algorithm wants. That's a problem for me, because nobody even knows I'm here. And now I have to change somewhat. I have to do short videos, which I will be. But the main thing is websites, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all of those things, they are steering towards million views. They are not going to go to 300 views. But me having an audience of 300 is pretty damn cool as far as I'm concerned. I want the people who want to track me to track me. And if you want to not click on the email, you get the email and you're like, oh, Glenn, not this week. Great, not a problem. I just want you to know it's around. So that's how I'm looking at it. The website. The idea of maintaining and trying to get people to go your website is crazy town now. However, if I'm on Substack and maybe something I do will be interesting and get a little stir into their feed, or other people will recommend it, whatever, that my home will be ongoing in a place where there is what they would call, if it was a store, foot traffic. In other words, it's a busy part of town. Substack is a busy part of town. My website is in a back alley outside of town. So that's what I'm thinking about as far as my website. I have a similar problem with Roberta. I have a 291-page screenplay, but then I realized there are 3 spines in the story and I can separate them. Should I introduce it as a trilogy or change it to stand alone? There's not a real should there. The answer is, so if you're saying you could break your screenplay into 3 separate screenplays, I would personally do that, either that or turn it into a book, because it's too long. If you are writing a screenplay that goes outside of the normal production process, the normal production scale, people are not going to produce it. And a screenplay, this is one of the things I try and talk about. One of the reasons I am pushing other modes. A screenplay that does not get produced is not going to have much of an audience, because most people will not read a screenplay. It's just not a form that most readers care about. They don't see it that way. They don't want to get engaged in a thing with all these stage directions and interior, exterior and stuff. So therefore, if you love your 300-page screenplay and you want people to read it as a 300-page screenplay, yeah, you can post it, you can publish it. But if you want film producers to produce your screenplay, you cannot have it be over 120 pages. So break it up if you can. If you can't, the next one, think about a story that fits into your scale. That is just a reality. Nishaj, I don't really understand Substack. I just heard about it a month ago, but I will try to get more into it for you, for sure. Thank you. Here's the deal. Here's what you do. If you were to search, boom. If you were to search Writing for Screens and you click on that, you will get this page. You will get a page and it says Writing for Screens and then a little 1-sentence summary of who I am. And then you can subscribe, or, and this is important, down at the bottom there, at the very bottom, it says, not just yet. And I may phrase that more clearly, but the whole idea is that you don't have to subscribe to see it. You can just click that and go right through to the main page. If you decide to subscribe, let's just take a little look and talk about how this is done. Up in the, you see, I don't have it. In the upper right-hand corner, it would say subscribe. It doesn't say that because I'm already subscribed because it's mine. So in the upper right-hand corner, there'll be a little button that says subscribe. If you click that button, you'll have to go through about 3 steps. The first one, I believe, is you give them your email, and it sends you an email saying, hey, thank you for subscribing or something. Then it asks if you want to also look at these others, and you cannot check those. You do not have to check those. You do not have to look at others. And then it asks, do you want to, what are your areas of interest? There's like a screen. Let me see if can I find, I think I screen grabbed that. Let me see. Yeah. Okay. So let me see if I can do this. Boom. Okay. So yeah, they have this page where it says dive into your interests and it asks you for topics, areas, and you can choose whatever you're interested in, culture, philosophy, humor. You don't have to. I mean, you just pick any 3. It doesn't matter, because what that will do is that they will then, when they send you their weekly email, which you can unsubscribe from, which says like, hey, here's what's happening on Substack. It'll be in the topics that you're interested in. But the main thing is, if you go through those admittedly annoying quick steps, then you got me. You got me. There's no cost. There's no problem. It's all free. It's all very easy. You do have to give your email. I do believe that is safe. I am certainly not doing anything with it. Substack says they're not. So there you go. Okay. Moving on. She Breathes Gold in Gold says, I love that little self-portrait. I didn't know you could draw. Well, I like to draw. I like to I've always wanted to. I used to draw when I was a kid, and then actually what happened was at the end of high school, maybe it was the end of college, I don't know. It's sometime in that era, I used to paint and draw, make films, all sorts of work in theater. And I thought, I am doing too many things. I can't get good at all of them. So I decided to stop visual art. But now, what have I got to lose? And that's sort of the point of that post with the little drawings. And I will be experimenting more and talking more about experimenting with, because I got this app called Procreate. It's an iPad drawing app. It's really cool. And I'm really having fun with it and playing with it. So how fun to have a place I can show you guys that. I Hate Jackie Chan says there is a scandal on Wong Kar Wai's new TV series. He only paid the writers in the writer room minimum wage way beyond industry standard. How can something like this happen? Well, I don't know the answer. The possibilities are that the company which financed it, most companies that are financing things are now trying to push wages down. And admittedly, wages are high in Hollywood. So it could be simply that the company that was hiring out said, this is our budget. This slice is good for writers. That's all we got. And the writers certainly had the right not to take the minimum. But they also may have wanted to work on it and like, you know what, I'll take the minimum. And by the way, let's remember, writer's room minimum wage is not minimum wage. It may be below industry standard, but remember, industry standard is a lot of money. I mean, when you compare that to like minimum wage for like working in a diner. So the answer is that's one way that it could happen. The other way it could happen is, for all I know, Wong Kar Wai is a horrible person. I don't know. I don't think so. I think that probably it's a decision by the people who are making it, who are producing it, not Wong Kar Wai himself. I look forward to the live stream. I try to make sure I'm here for you, and you're such an inspiration. Well, I'm going to keep doing it. That's absolutely not going to change. Hey, what did you think about One Battle After Another? I thought it was terrific. It is sprawling. It is probably the most conventional story that Paul Thomas Anderson has ever filmed, in the sense that it's kind of a straight ahead story about this father and daughter who, for various reasons, get into horrible, horrible trouble because of past choices the father and mother had made. And a bad guy and organization of bad guys come after them. So that's the basic premise of the movie. And it's very clear, and it's really well done, for my taste. Some people are not going to like the sloppiness of it, which is very deliberate. Or the decision to spend some time, like there's a lengthy scene between Sean Penn and Chase Infinity, a lengthy sort of interrogation, communication scene, things like that, where it's probably unconventional, but I think it's excellent. I think it's beautifully filmed. There are some amazing sequences. Certainly, as many people are saying, one of the most inventive car chases I have ever seen. Just freaking brilliant. But also because it's got some heart. It's got humor. It's got razzmatazz filmmaking, but it's also got an emotional core, which is very powerful and builds to a satisfying conclusion. So I think that's great. I think that it is saying things that are politically worth saying in a very whacked out way. So I thought One Battle After Another was terrific. I highly recommend it. Okay. I have a crazy idea, Roberta says, to make the script into audio drama in podcasts. That's a great idea, using my own voice to do all the voices, aim to attract interest, to have someone interested to produce in a movie. Roberta, I love that idea. I am thinking of a similar use of podcasting for myself. I think that storytelling podcasting is a cool idea. Will it work? Will its people buy it? Who knows? But why not do it? That's what I'm talking about here. The idea that we have this technology that you can record a podcast for very, very little money, an inexpensive microphone into your phone, and then with some editing software that could be free, create a podcast which is high quality enough to post. Is it going to be up there, up against the big budget things? No, but who cares? Because you get to do your crazy idea and make your script into an audio drama. I love that. I can't tell you what to do, but I can tell you why not. What is the worst thing that happens? If 40 people listen to it all the way through, that's pretty cool. Maybe 400, maybe 4,000. You never know, but it's worth trying anyway. Watson Neal, any tips to write a villainous character as the protagonist? I want to write a guy who's near dying of cancer and decides to kidnap a surgeon son to force him to operate and skips the hospital line. Social comment of bureaucracy and social class. Yes. Any tips? Here's my main tip is, once again, I believe that we can empathize with, or at least be interested in the fate of a character who does bad things if, first of all, we understand clearly what they are trying to accomplish. And it sounds like in your case, very clear. He needs surgery and can't get it, and therefore it is a social drama about healthcare. So the question is, and by the way, there have been a couple of those. I think there's one called Extreme Measures. There's been a bunch of medical bad people doing things because of medical necessity. Obviously, Breaking Bad is something you want to take a look at. John Q, the Denzel Washington, Nick Cassavetes movie. There are many stories in which someone is in a desperate position. There's one called Money Game. Jodie Foster made it with George Clooney and Jack O'Connor. Anyway, my point is, there is no reason that you would not do that. The question will be, is this villainous character, are we supposed to like them, or are we supposed to feel for them but wish they wouldn't do what they were doing? For instance, there is a movie called Falling Down with Michael Douglas, directed by Joel Schumacher. It's a fascinating case of a really bad person who is our protagonist. It is meant to evoke complicated feelings. You are supposed to both kind of enjoy his arc and at the same time condemn him. That's and many people feel you shouldn't even enjoy any of it. It's a fair argument to make. I think it's cool, especially because of where it goes, where the story ends. I think it's making a clear statement on the side of goodness. But look, let's put it this way. Macbeth is a story of a villainous character, and it's a spoiler, a tragedy about someone who allows a greed, a lust for power to lead them into what they believe is an important arc towards their own triumph, and as a result becomes a monster. Okay. Then why is your videos always on my suggestion box? Oh, you're talking about the YouTube thing. That means that if you click the little bell, that should help. You mean like when you open your YouTube, it will show my videos? That's great. That means that the algorithm is seeing that you're watching mine, and so therefore it says, oh, here's some more of that. Truthfully, the algorithm, when I went on in anonymous mode. In other words, so that, first of all, I don't watch my own videos, so therefore the algorithm would not steer me to me because I never watch it. And I don't watch other screenwriters because I don't want to hear about it. But when I went on in anonymous mode and just searched for screenwriting, I did not come up. So the answer is you're getting it because you've already shown that you're like me. You like me. Okay. I have a totally different problem. My screenplay is only 74 pages. Well, then, and we've talked about this problem a bit before, I think. Where can you open it up a little? 74 pages is not that far from, if you got to like 85, you're fine. Are there any scenes where you feel people could talk a little more? Are there any topics which you feel, oh, people have more to say or more to do? Are there scenes where there might be a little bit of extra steps in the action? Are you moving very, very fast? Are there points when you want to slow down a bit, take a little breather? I suspect that you'll be able to get it up to 80, 85, and that's fine. It's short, but especially for a lot of genre work and a lot of low budget work, 80 is great. I'm always surprised to see a small movie with a good story among industry concerned with box office rates. I am too. Now, if you're talking about One Battle After Another, that's not a small movie. That was PTA's biggest budget. It's a very large budget, but you do see it. I mean, it's well filmed. It's small in its approach, but the question is, are there small movies coming out that are with box office receipts? I hope so. I hope Roofman does well. The filmmaker of this new upcoming film, Roofman, is a favorite of mine. He did Blue Valentine. He did Place Among the Pines. And Roofman looks like a blast. So, and I'm going to Smashing Machine this weekend. And I would suggest you also do that. Smashing Machine, the first film. The Safdie brothers, who made some amazing movies, including Good Times and Uncut Gems, they have split up and are making individual films. Both of their individual films are true story sports stories, and both look great. One is Marty Supreme. Benny, that's Josh Safdie. Benny Safdie has made The Smashing Machine, which opens this coming weekend with Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt. Looks great. I am eager to do it. I am trying to write my screenplay Pulp Fiction style. Any advice or tips? Let's talk about what Pulp Fiction style is. There's two stylistic elements to Pulp Fiction that are sort of the biggies. The first is the broken up time scheme. And if you're, if you're doing that, my advice would be watch a bunch of and take apart. Do the take art apart. Do you remember my video, Take Art Apart? Please watch that. In terms of you should take Pulp Fiction and outline it. Figure out exactly how that works. Not that that's the only way to do it. There's also a movie, obviously Reservoir Dogs, also broken up into time, but there are many, many time fractured movies. Analyze them. See see how they do what they do. See why things work for you. What is it? Is it how, in other words, some of them have a very structured, broken up time scheme. Pulp Fiction is kind of loosey-goosey. It goes all over the place. And the question is, how do you track characters in that? There is no formula for that. There are a lot of them now, so you can easily analyze them and say, what are they doing? They're breaking off scenes at certain points where things are cliffhangers. They are maybe intercutting in certain ways. I don't know that there is a formula, but I do know there are examples to study. And I would suggest doing that. The other thing about Pulp Fiction is the story, the Pulp Fiction style is Tarantino's discursive, casual, chatty style where people are doing monologues and long dialogues and debates and fancy language. That's another part that you want to analyze and say, do I want to do that? Are you talking about that? Or are you talking about structure? Either one, the answer is look at how it's been done that you like and think, what is my version of that? What for me is the cool reveal. The thing about a broken time story is that it allows for surprising twists and turns, which if they were told in conventional chronological style might not have been as fun. So the answer is, what is being withheld? What is being revealed? What is it that you get from breaking up and weirding time? So that's my first advice. Stoked you're getting back into art. Hope all is well. Thank you, Drive by Uppercut. Me too. How to deal with short attention span. I am Gen Z and can only pay attention for 20 minutes. It's frustrating for writing. I dig it. I also have a short attention span in many ways. And the answer is work in 20-minute sections. Not a problem. Who says you have to do more? What if you did 20 minutes, went and played a video game or exercised, and then came back 2 hours later and did another 20 minutes? If you keep doing that, you'll get a couple hours in. So the answer is, if you have a short attention span, that's one thing. The other thing is, during your work sessions, try to remove the things that are distracting. See if you can, simplify your desktop, turn off your notifications, work in a place where nobody knows you. Those are all ways that you might deal with it. No more comments, by the way, please, because we're at the end of an hour. But I think that the main thing is, don't try and fight your nature. If you have a short attention span, work with it. Make a structure that lets you work for the 20 minutes. And then, because the great thing about writing is that it's cumulative. If you write a paragraph in 20 minutes, and then you come back and you write another paragraph in 20 minutes, and another, after a while, you'll have pages. And then maybe you edit for 20 minutes or rewrite for 20 minutes. Whatever it is, if that's your natural span, don't fight it. There's nothing wrong with it. Will that work if you become a professional? No, but by the time you become somebody who's paid to do this, like in a room, you'll have developed a confidence and a skill, and you'll figure out how to do it for yourself. Hopefully. That's all I can say is, Miller, don't be afraid of your nature. Work with it. Don't fight it. As long as you're continually doing the thing, even if it's in 20-minute breaks, it will get done. Just keep doing it. Maybe not just yet, like skip for now or read without subscribing. Yes, that is probably, the thing is, I was trying to be colloquial and casual and like, nah, but the truth is many people don't know the rules. And so therefore they're going to be like, I don't know how to not subscribe. So fair point. Just sad it's not Daniel Day-Lewis, but Sean Penn. I assume you mean the villain in One Battle After Another. And I have to tell you, Sean Penn is extraordinary in this movie. He is so disturbing. And at first you're like, is Sean Penn just messed up? But then if you see him like outside of the movie, you're like, oh no, he's acting. It's brilliant. Very, very. Podcasting a novel is such a cool idea. I agree. Use the new forms. Use the technology. Don't let it run you over. Have some fun. How about Cillian Murphy's new movie, Steve? I am looking forward to Steve. Yes, absolutely. We're talking about small movies coming out that are going to be interesting. Steve looks fabulous. Watch the trailer if you haven't seen it. Cool. This is a weird thing. I don't understand why anyone would say this. I've been hearing this. I enjoyed One Battle After Another. Am I a right-wing supporter? I don't see how that's the case. I don't see how... I mean... Okay. Someone should... In the comments, because I'm not going to be here that long, but in the comments, if you have something to say about this, please do. I don't understand how anyone can look at One Battle After Another and think it's a right-wing piece. Yes, admittedly, the left wing, the revolutionaries do some bad stuff and they make some bad mistakes and they are flawed people. but there's no question that they're better than the right-wing people in the story. There's really no argument. I would love to understand. Somebody link me if there's like an article saying that one battle after another is right-wing. I don't get it. One battle after another is frankly a glorious statement on the value of fighting back. Unfortunately, the early parts of the movie, the radical revolutionary parts, there is violence, which is unwise as far as I'm concerned. But I understand the frustration which would lead to it. I just don't think I don't think it's going to work. I mean, it may even work short term, but in the long term, it's going to feed a tribal, power-based society, which is just not good. But that's me. This is my opinion about society. All I can say is, Henry Cain, Junior Henry Cain, you are not. And if you enjoyed it, welcome to the club. Me too. All right. This has been fabulous. I am delighted to see y'all. I am hoping that you will join me on Substack. More to come on all of this. I will see you next week. And in the meantime, please go write something.